There's a stone in Lebanon that weighs more than 10 blue whales combined. No crane on Earth today, not one, can lift it off the ground. It's been lying there for 2,000 years, and we still don't fully know why someone started carving it, or why they walked away and never finished. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to look at every old stone wall differently. This is the story of 7 places on Earth that shouldn't exist, built by people history says had no business building them. We like to think of progress as a straight line. Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age, steam, steel, silicon. Each one smarter than the last. But scattered across this planet are structures that break that line completely. Places built before metal tools, before the wheel, before writing, before farming even, by people we picture as simple hunters wrapped in animal hide. And yet what they left behind, we can barely replicate today. With diamond drills, with hydraulic cranes, with satellites, 7 structures, 7 continents worth of mystery, each one harder to explain than the last. Let's start at the very beginning of human civilization, earlier than anyone thought civilization began. Structure number 1. Göbekli Tepe, Turkey, southeastern Turkey. A quiet hill the locals called Potbelly Hill. In 1994, a German archaeologist named Klaus Schmidt starts digging there, and what he finds rewrites the textbooks. Buried under centuries of windblown dust, massive T-shaped stone pillars, arranged in circles, carved with lions, foxes, scorpions, and vultures in full relief. Radiocarbon dating puts the site at roughly 11,500 years old. Let that number sit for a second. That's 7,000 years older than the Great Pyramid of Giza, almost 6,000 years older than Stonehenge. When these pillars went up, there was no writing anywhere on Earth. No cities, no farms, no domesticated animals. The people who built this were hunter-gatherers, the same people we usually picture chasing game with sharpened sticks. They had no metal tools, no rope made of anything but plant fiber and animal sinew, just flint, muscle, and time. The tallest standing pillar reaches 5.5 meters. The central pair weigh up to 10 tons each. And in the quarry next door, archaeologists found a half-finished pillar, 7 meters long, 50 tons, abandoned mid-carving. Something went wrong. We'll never know what. Here's the detail that still gives researchers chills. Geometric surveys show the 3 main enclosures form the points of a near-perfect equilateral triangle across the landscape. Without a measuring tape, without a blueprint, without writing to record the plan. And then, after all that effort, the builders did something almost unthinkable. They buried it, on purpose. With their own hands, they covered the whole complex in earth and walked away, protecting it from the world for over 11,000 years, until a farmer's plow snagged on a stone in 1994. If a hunter-gatherer society could engineer this, what does that tell us about how we define primitive? We're only just getting started. The next site isn't just old, it's a city. Buried 18 stories straight down. Structure number 2. Derinkuyu, Turkey. A man in the Turkish town of Derinkuyu is renovating his house. He swings a hammer at a wall in his basement, and the wall just disappears. Caves into a black tunnel that shouldn't be there. He keeps digging. Behind that tunnel, a room. Behind that room, another tunnel. Then, another room. He had just found the opening to an entire underground city. 18 levels, 85 meters straight down. The depth of a 25-story building, pushed into the earth. Built to house an estimated 20,000 people, along with their livestock, their food stores, even their workshops. Inside, stables, wine cellars, communal kitchens, hidden chapels carved from rock, schools, wells reaching all the way to groundwater at the lowest levels, and air fed through more than 15,000 ventilation shafts, keeping the whole underground world breathable. Each level has its own massive stone door, circular up to 500 kilograms, rolling shut like a millstone. They lock from the inside only. There's no handle, no leverage point on the outside. If you weren't supposed to get in, you simply couldn't. And Derinkuyu isn't even alone. Cappadocia, the wider region, holds over 200 underground complexes like it. One tunnel alone stretches 8 kilometers, connecting Derinkuyu to the neighboring city of Göbekli. Here's the part that should bother you a little. We still don't know, with certainty, who started digging it, or exactly when. Some researchers point to the Hittites nearly 4,000 years ago, others to the Phrygians, 2,800 years back. A few connect its earliest tunnels to the end of the last ice age. No surviving document, not one, explains how it was done. No bulldozers, no laser levels, no blueprints we've ever found. Just people, choosing to carve a second world beneath the one we already had. If they built an entire civilization underground with hand tools, what does it say about what people are capable of when they have nothing but determination? Now let's go to the mountains of Peru, where the stones fit together so perfectly, a knife blade can't slide between them. Structure number 3, Saksaywaman, Peru, high above the old Inca capital of Cusco, at nearly 3,700 meters elevation, sits a fortress wall that has outlasted empires, Saksaywaman. The wall zigzags across the mountainside like a jagged bolt of lightning frozen in stone. Every single block is a different shape, no two alike, and yet they interlock so precisely that the wall has survived earthquakes that flattened Spanish colonial churches built centuries after it. The largest stones weigh between 128 and 200 tons. The quarry they came from, Rumi Kolka, sits 35 kilometers away, across ravines, rivers, and mountain passes. The builders had no horses, no pack mules, no carts, no wheel. Just rope made from plant fiber and raw human effort. When the Spanish arrived in the 1500s, they were stunned too. A chronicler named Pedro Pizarro wrote in his journal that the stones at the base were so massive, he genuinely doubted human hands alone could have set them, and that the joints were fitted so tightly, not even the point of a pin could slip between them. Modern engineers actually tested that claim with laser measurement tools. He was right. There is no measurable gap, not even microscopic. The Inca's own legends offer one explanation: that a serpent god turned the workers to stone with a single glance, freezing the blocks into place forever. We obviously don't take that literally, but it tells you something. Even the people who likely built it found it hard to believe their own ancestors did this by hand. Whatever the real method, and researchers do have working theories involving ramps, abrasion, and enormous coordinated labor, the result still stops visitors in their tracks 500 years later. Next, we leave land completely and go 25 meters underwater, off the coast of Japan. Structure number 4, Yonaguni, Japan, the southernmost edge of Japan. A small island called Yonaguni, the last scrap of land before the open Pacific. In 1986, a local diver named Kihachiro Arataki is scouting a new dive site when he swims over something strange beneath him. A massive stone formation, 25 meters down, with what look like straight edges, flat terraces, and stairs. It stretches 150 meters long, 27 meters high, 40 meters wide, carved or shaped from sandstone roughly 20 million years old. And here's where things get genuinely contested, even among scientists today. Professor Masaki Kimura of the University of the Ryukyus believes it's man-made. Geologist Robert Schoch of Boston University, and most geologists who've studied the site, argue it's primarily a natural rock formation, shaped by how sandstone naturally fractures along straight lines, though possibly modified by human hands at some point. That debate is genuinely unresolved. Both sides have real evidence. But here's the part that makes it worth talking about either way. If even part of Yonaguni was shaped by people, the site would have to be at least 10,000 years old, because that's the last time this formation stood above water, back when sea levels were 100 meters lower, at the close of the last ice age. Which means, if it's man-made, it wasn't the Egyptians, wasn't the Sumerians, wasn't anyone we have a name for. Whichever side of this you land on, it's a reminder of something humbling. The ocean is still hiding things we haven't fully figured out. Now, to the structure most of you have already seen 1,000 times, but not like this. Structure number 5, The Great Pyramid of Giza, Egypt. Everyone's seen the Great Pyramid. It's on coffee mugs and postcards. But almost no one knows its actual numbers. And they deserve your full attention. 2.3 million stone blocks fitted into a single structure. Average weight per block, roughly 2.5 tons. Some interior granite slabs hauled all the way from Aswan, weigh up to 80 tons each, dragged 800 kilometers up the Nile. At its original height of about 146 meters, it stood as the tallest structure on Earth for almost 3,800 years. No building anywhere surpassed it until the 1300s. The base is level to within 2 centimeters across 230 meters. That's a precision modern construction crews only match using laser leveling equipment. But here's the detail that quietly stuns engineers most. The pyramid sides align to true north, south, east, and west, with an error of roughly 3 minutes 38 seconds of arc. A fraction of 1 degree. That's more accurate than the orientation of the Greenwich Meridian was when it was first officially set. Deep inside, narrow shafts point towards specific stars. The Belt of Orion, the brilliant star Sirius, the ancient pole star Thuban. All from a civilization our textbooks say had no compass. We don't have the original architectural blueprints. We don't have a surviving construction manual. We have the result, sitting in the desert, daring us to explain it. If a society without modern surveying tools could orient a building to the cardinal directions more precisely than 19th century astronomers, what else have we underestimated about the ancient world? Now, back to where we started. Because the biggest stone of all is still waiting for us in Lebanon. Structure number 6, Baalbek, Lebanon. Remember the stone from the very beginning of this video? This is where it lives. Eastern Lebanon, the city of Baalbek. Not just one stone, an entire quarry landscape sitting beside an ancient temple complex. The most famous block is called the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, nearly 1,000 tons, over 20 meters long, taller than a 2-story house, cut with precise flat faces on every side. Nearby in the same quarry lies an even bigger block, nicknamed the Stone of the South, at roughly 1,242 tons. And in 2014, German archaeologists uncovered a third, the Forgotten Stone, buried deep in the same quarry, around 1,500 tons. That's the largest cut stone ever found on planet Earth, and it was carved for a structure that, as far as we can tell, was never finished. The Roman temples built on top of Baalbek date to the 1st centuries AD, but underneath them sits something else entirely. The Trilithon, 3 single stones, each weighing roughly 750 tons, each 19 meters long, raised 20 meters off the ground and locked into the base of the structure. They don't match the Roman stonework above them. Not in style, not in tool marks, not in weathering pattern. A 15th century patriarch recorded a local legend claiming Baalbek was built by Cain, son of Adam. A myth, not history, but one that shows how long people have been struggling to explain this place. Even Mark Twain, visiting in the 1800s, wrote that the story of this site felt like a book sealed shut, one we simply can't read. Today, researchers genuinely disagree. Some believe Roman engineers, skilled, resourceful, and underestimated by us, used winches, ramps, and massive coordinated labor forces to move these stones, fully within their known capabilities. Others argue the Trilithon predates Rome by a very long time, and the Romans simply built on top of something already there. Either way, stand next to a 750-ton stone sometime, and tell me it doesn't change how you see human history. And now, the final structure. The one this entire video has been building toward. The one where modern diamond drills meet their match. Structure number 7. Puma Punku, Bolivia, the Altiplano Plateau. 3,850 meters above sea level, high enough that the air carries a third less oxygen than at sea level. No forests up here. Barely any trees at all, which matters because moving stone usually means wooden rollers and sledges. There weren't any. And yet, here stands Puma Punku. The heaviest blocks weigh around 131 tons, nearly 8 meters long, 5 meters wide, over a meter thick. The red sandstone quarry sits 10 kilometers up the slope, but the andesite blocks, the hardest material at the site, were hauled from across Lake Titicaca itself, roughly 90 kilometers away by water or by mountain trail. Andesite is brutally hard rock. On the Mohs hardness scale, it rivals hardened steel. Modern diamond-tipped drills struggle with it and dull quickly. And yet the blocks at Pumapunku look almost machine-milled. Perfect 90-degree angles, flawless flat planes, mirror-polished surfaces, H-shaped blocks, interlocking like pieces of a massive stone puzzle, fitted so precisely that no blade can slip into the seams. Drilled holes run through the stone in straight lines, spaced just 6 millimeters apart, over and over again. Archaeologists have even found traces of copper clamps in the stone, proof the builders did know metalwork. And yet they still chose to shape this stone primarily by hand. The conventional dating ties Pumapunku to the Tiwanaku culture, roughly 1,500 years ago. Some alternative researchers argue for a much older date, though that older dating remains genuinely disputed among mainstream archaeologists, not an accepted fact. What's not disputed is this. By the time the Inca arrived centuries later, even they didn't know who built it. Their own legend says simply that the gods built it in a single night. Let's close with this. The bigger picture. 7 structures, 7 points on the map. One question that ties them all together. Each of these places quietly breaks the story we tell ourselves about progress, that history moves in one straight upward line. Stone tools, then bronze, then iron. Each generation simply smarter than the last. These places suggest something different, something more humbling, that somewhere in the deep past, people figured out things we are still working to fully understand, using nothing but patience, cooperation, and an almost unbearable amount of effort. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Not that ancient people had secret advanced technology, but that human beings, ordinary human beings, without metal, without wheels, without writing, were capable of extraordinary things when they worked together towards something bigger than themselves. We've got diamond drills, hydraulic cranes, laser levels, satellites, and in some very real ways, we're still just trying to catch up. So here's something to sit with. The next time something in your own life feels impossible, too heavy to lift, too big to move, too far out of reach, remember that human beings have been doing the impossible for at least 11,500 years, with far less than you have right now. If this journey through 7 of the most baffling places on Earth gave you chills, made you think, or made you want to book a flight somewhere, do 3 things for me. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one of these. Like this video, it genuinely helps more people find it. And drop a comment telling me which one of these 7 structures stunned you the most. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next video.